The first, Mr. Piotr Michalak from Poland. He is an entrepreneur with over 15 years of experience running multiple companies in his career. He has trained over 5,000 entrepreneurs and over 1,000 investors. Now he has a new focus, a game of changing wisdom, sharing, social networking. He will introduce the project to give you a chance to become early adopters in a change from an era of information to the era of wisdom. And now I request Mr. Peter to share your experience ideas, the most valuable ideas to our students in these discussions. Mr. Peter.
Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you for a beautiful introduction. From what I understand, you guys, you students, you are studying content creation mostly. And I would like you to know that I have started as a content creator myself 15 years ago. In the beginning, being fascinated with copywriting, and mostly what I found interesting is persuasive copywriting that may sell with words, or it was called by Americans salesmanship in print. So thus I became a copywriter. I opened my own company and started earning money as soon as I was 20 years old. And between my first and second year of studies at university. So it was pretty hard at the beginning because as content creators, as copywriters, you have several ways to do your business, several avenues to pursue, right? So for example, you may start writing articles that other businesses want you to write. Or you may start writing a blog and become a publicist, or you can set up your YouTube channel, or you can become an expert in a field and develop yourself in order to sell information products in the future. So when I started, I had great dreams of becoming a millionaire fast. It turned out not to be so very fast. It took me many years to become. Now I am a multi-million-dollar millionaire in cash, but it took me years of hard work. And I would like to share several golden nuggets, so it won't take you guys so long. Does this make sense so far?
Yeah, it is quite interesting.
All right. So let's move on. So I have started setting up an advertising agency first. Then it turned out that in this business model you can only earn so much. So later I started selling information products, that is creating my own ebooks, my own online courses. And this is a good way to go, and some people who are experts in that earn millions per year. But in order to achieve success nowadays on the internet, you as an expert or as a content creator need to do cross-channel communications between, for example, building your community on YouTube or Twitter or other channels, and moving this community to your sales pages in order to make any sales. So what I'm trying to say is when you develop yourself trying to sell more as a successful content creator, you end up having a 15-person company where every person manages different aspects of your business. And I have a friend, for example, who makes roughly $1 million per year in revenue in his business, but he has 15 exactly people, and his costs are about 80% of this revenue. So he doesn't actually earn much money. And this is one of the biggest problems for content creators nowadays, that you need to be cross-channel, that you need to have accounts on each and every social media communicator, Like even I myself have like 10 communicators right now, plus social media websites, plus different avenues to publish, and you just can't manage all of this. You need to focus somewhere, and there is no place currently on the internet that would allow you to both build a community and later monetize your traffic in the same place without cross-channel moving people around, which is always hard and which always requires these people, your community, to make a leap of faith, right? Because, for example, they trust being on YouTube and they know the environment, but when you move them to your sales page, this is something new to them. They don't want to click the link you are giving them, and they are afraid of making an order there. It would be so much easier to have one place where you do both things, build a community and monetize later. And this is one of the problems I decided to solve after 13 or 14 years in the industry by setting up ccFOUND like a year or two ago. We just did a private sale of our digital currency 4 months ago, and we generated $1.35 million in the private sale. And I decided to build this company different than the companies before. Hired the best people, created a great management board, and we developed a worldwide startup that is to solve the problems of internet nowadays. So one problem I told you about just now, the problem of experts not having a place where you can both publish and later monetize in the same place. Monetize by creating and selling ebooks, audiobooks, online courses, paid webinars, closed groups where people pay you on a monthly basis for access to your information, to your content, for example. So all these ways will be permitted on ccFOUND and in the same place, on one platform. But the other problem is much wider and much more like from a higher perspective. So all of you guys know Google, use Google, and you have probably saw that sometimes when you are looking for information on Google, you end up with 20 open browser tabs, right? And you spend hours looking for this information. And people on university will also tell you probably that internet is full of trash, and you can't be sure of the information you find online. This is not scientific information most of the time. Much of this is fake, and much of this is written by other content creators just for money and not for real informative purposes. So there's a lot of content nowadays created by people after studies like you, by different copywriters, SEO copywriters, that are just generating a lot of SEO trash to fill the internet, to position websites on Google. But does this really generate a lot of value for the users? It does not, obviously. So how can we approach this problem? How to make Google work again? How to make social media work again also? Because, for example, when you use Facebook or other social media websites, what you can notice is that what you see at the top of the website is generated by attention-grabbing algorithms. There are artificial intelligence embedded in the social media that analyzes what you are interested in. For example, you're interested in funny cats or nice girls, right? And the algorithm will show you only funny cats or mostly funny cats and nice girls, because that's what you clicked on. So where internet is headed is towards the clickbait economy. So is it really serving people? We could ask. Does this really help us to make internet a research, education and informative source? Obviously, we are headed in the wrong direction, in the direction of pauperization of media. And you, as young content creators, I would love to see you create informative content, really worthwhile content, really content that changes the life of people reading this or watching your videos. In order to do that, we need to return to the roots of internet. Internet was originally founded to help people exchange and share information. But another interesting aspect is, you probably all believe that we are living in an information age, information era. Actually, that is no longer true. Information era, according to some researchers, ended around year 2000, about the dot-com burst. And we moved on to the knowledge era. So there is different aspect, information and knowledge. Information is, for example, when you learn the theory of content, and you have information that there are various types of content, right? Then you have knowledge of how to create such type of content. For example, how to create blog posts so they generate traffic and revenue. And you have the know-how of how to use special keywords, how to make a good headline, how to make the blog post interesting, how to set up the structure of the post, which words to use, which linguistic patterns to use to make it sound interesting, etc. So you have know-how, you have knowledge, you have something useful, you have competence. But still, you can take this competence and work many, many years generating some kind of revenue, some kind of results, but ending up just having maybe a semi-popular blog with good posts that some people read, having some kind of presence, but not much success really. So having success in what you do in life actually takes something more besides knowledge. And this something more is wisdom. So we have information, knowledge, and wisdom. And researchers nowadays say that we are already moving past also the knowledge era into the wisdom era. So how does this affect you as students? You are coming into age where your decisions matter, your different perspectives matter. So for example, I myself have been running a business, and for 10 years I was just earning money, spending money, earning money, spending money. And whatever I earned, I spent. So was it really wise? I was an entrepreneur. I was priding myself in being a businessman. But actually, did I have results? Not much. I was not wise. So other entrepreneurs, for example, were working less hours than me, but making better decisions. And making better decisions is wisdom. For example, if you take Steve Jobs of Apple computers and you take another company, for example, I don't know, Lenovo, Samsung, whatever. What Steve Jobs did and why he was successful, or sometimes not so successful, is that he made different decisions. He had some kind of insight of what is needed on the market. He had insight of how people think and how people work and how to create computers for them. And you can see now Apple being being one of the most expensive companies on the market, having the greatest income in the market. And this is because Steve Jobs set his company's culture in a very wise way. So this is, and he wasn't better at producing computers. He was just a wiser guy at some aspects of his life. So here, on Steve Jobs' case, you can see the difference between know-how of how to produce computers and the wisdom of how to make the company work, producing the same computers as everybody else, but in a better way, and having a better position on the market. So now that you understand what's the difference between wisdom, knowledge, and information, answer yourselves. If you search for something on Google, can you search for information? Definitely. You can, for example, type types of content in Google and you will get many articles on this. or how to create a YouTube video. You have information or also regarding some types of knowledge. But if you ask Google, for example, what should I do with my life? How should my career progress? Or I have this kind of situation, I plan to open my company and I don't know which type of legal form to choose, and I also am not sure which market should I choose, or I have generated some income, I don't know what to invest in, or is it really still time to invest in Bitcoin, or is it too late already because it has grown so much? You have these types of questions where you need other people's advice. And Google doesn't really help you finding advice. Or you can find some, but Google will position on the top, on the highest place, the advice from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or sometimes you can even find articles from 2008, which are no longer relevant to your situation. And especially, you can ask Google about your specific situation. And again, what is wisdom? When I was developing myself as a businessman, I was attending these types of meetings that are called mastermind groups. Mastermind is a type of setting where, like here, you have 4 people and we are exchanging our problems, what are we working on right now, and each of us advises every other person on his or her problem. This way, for example, in this group, if I shared my problem, my friends here would give me 3 different perspectives. And you need to understand one thing. For example, I myself, I'm a member of Mensa Society. Mensa is for highly intelligent people, and I have 156 IQ. This is not to boast. I have much more intelligent people in my company. But this is just a case study. So for many years, I thought that my ideas are great, and that I know what I am doing, and that I know where I should be heading. But practice, business practice later showed me, and hitting the brick wall of market showed me that I wasn't always so wise. My decisions weren't always right. And even with a high IQ, even if you're a highly intelligent person, you are only looking on the world through one set of glasses, through 2 eyes only. So you have only this perspective. You only have this kind of tunnel vision and overview of life and reality. And even if you have 200 IQ, this is like having 2 brains. Still, you are looking only on this perspective, because still you have only 2 eyes. But if I take Dilip, for example, and Dilip looks at the world from completely another perspective, from India, another part of the world. I'm living in Warsaw, in Poland, in European Union. I have never been in India, I'm sorry, but I hope to visit you guys sometime in the future. I would love to. But I have never been in India. I'm still learning how you guys think. What are your cultural values? But Dilip, for example, can give me a completely different perspective on my business, on what we are doing, on how should we develop our business, for example, in Asia and in India. If I made these decisions, I would most probably be wrong. Higher IQ or low IQ, it doesn't matter. We need different perspectives. So you can tell me there are different websites where you can ask other people for an opinion. You have forums, you have Facebook groups, you have, for example, you have places like Quora, questions and answers websites. And actually what I'm developing right now, ccFOUND, is a question and answer website, but with different, very important aspects where we differentiate. So if you go to Yahoo Answers, for example, or into Quora, most of these websites are led by what I said before, by attention-grabbing algorithms. For example, on Quora, I go into the topic Bitcoin. And on the top place, for example, I see a question like, how much Bitcoin can I buy for 1,000 rubles? ruble, I don't know if I'm translating this correctly into English, is Russian currency. I have never been to Russia. Poland is quite far, not so near Russia actually. So I don't know why they are showing me this. Probably they thought that this is interesting to me, but it is not. And if I enter just Quora, the main site, right? Questions I see are, for example, are there real life mutants? Do you know any real mutants? Or questions like, are actors smoking real cigarettes when they are filming movies and they are smoking in the movie, right? Is this a real cigarette? So, alright, this is an interesting question, but this is just curiosity question. This is a curio. This doesn't change my life. This is not a question that's important to me. This is what? An attention-grabbing algorithm at work. An attention headline. This is a clickbait, essentially. So, obviously, Quora is just an entertainment site. And many other sites are like this. And ccFOUND will be different in a way that we will create a huge online database of knowledge and wisdom. How? By a very simple mechanism of upvoting. What is most important should be at the top. What is most upvoted by most people is for beginners. Thus, you have a natural way of creating a table of contents, like in a book, for example. You read a book, and first chapters are for the beginners, and then the author goes into more and more advanced concepts. It's the same on ccFOUND. You enter a topic, for example, Bitcoin, and you will have articles beginning from, or questions beginning from, which wallet should I choose, how to transfer Bitcoin, what is Bitcoin a fraud, a scam, should I invest in Bitcoin, very beginner concepts, and only later below you will have less upvoted content, like for example, what are the technical aspects of Bitcoin, what are transaction hashes, how does the wallet actually work? Can I have a command line wallet and how to use this? How to dig for Bitcoin as a, I lost the word, proof of work. You maybe understand what I mean or not. But technical aspects, more advanced concepts will be below on the website. And thus you will have a huge table of contents on every topic. But that's not all. For example, if you express yourself on the portal, you ask a question in your language, or maybe use English. You can use whatever language you want to use. Everything will be translated into everything, into every other language. For example, your friend from Japan may ask a question in Japanese. I will see this question in Polish. You will see this question in Hindu. And you can answer in your language. I will see your answer in Polish, and he will see your answer in Japanese. The result will be that all the questions answered on one market will automatically position in search engines around the world in every other language. So automatically you generate presence as a content creator on each and every other market. You can tell me, but Peter, these automated translations made by artificial intelligence are not of perfect quality. There are grammar errors. And obviously I anticipate the imperfection of these translations. How to manage this is the correct question. And we can do this by inviting the community to also act as translators, as people who will correct the automated translations and get rewarded. And thus we are moving into the concept of decentralization, where no longer in the future you will have Facebooks or Google websites where everything is centralized in one company. And for example, if you create a YouTube channel and your channel is about, for example, cryptocurrencies, then YouTube may say, oh, you are a scammer, we delete your channel, and you are blocked. And all you can do is correspond with some support specialist, or maybe with a robot. He may not even be a real person anymore. And he will answer you oh, here's our rules and regulations, and we don't care. And you won't get your channel back, or maybe you will after a month of discussing this with them. So this is a huge problem nowadays, censorship. And what I'm planning to do on ccFOUND, and what my team is planning to do, is create a decentralized autonomous organization. And this is a completely different way of running a company, where certain tasks and processes are delegated onto the community. So for example, regarding translations, the community will be correcting the translations, not our employees. And the community will be rewarded with tokens, with our currency, internal currency, and with reputation points. And also, these translations need to be double checked by second line supervisors, who also will be rewarded. So we are already anticipating 2 layers of translating correction to make the content really good quality. On the other hand, we have investors. So for example, I told you about the private sale, and currently we're preparing for a crowdfunding campaign where we will have 350 days of daily auctions, where people will be auctioning our DAO knowledge currency. And how this will work? This is a new way to set up a company. Maybe this will inspire you also if some of you are entrepreneurs, for example. You no longer issue shares. Shares are a thing of past. They are very highly regulated. It is very costly to issue shares for a large number of people, and all the legal costs are so high that it's really bottlenecking the growth of your company. So you are issuing shares to raise money, but in order to issue shares, you need to raise money. So how should it work? It's much easier nowadays to issue tokens on some kind of blockchain. And these tokens may actually be better than shares. In our case, on ccFOUND, our DAO knowledge currency, called CC, will work in such a way that you have the platform, ccFOUND.com, which will have revenue, which will have sales of information products, like I said before. And for example, you as an investor or as a token holder, you will automatically receive tokens. Tokens are like dividends, only they are not dividends. So for example, if you have a company, you get a dividend only once per year, and only if the management board says, all right, we can pay out some of our income as a dividend, maybe 10%. So that's how it works in companies, and most companies don't pay dividends ever. If you buy shares, your play is only on the growth of the share. But on ccFOUND, we are developing a system that will automatically generate a token for each and every token holder each and every day from the generated income. It will be managed by a smart contract, which is a decentralized application on a blockchain. And it will be done automatically. It won't need my decision if we pay dividends or not. This is automatically on autopilot. And I believe that these kind of companies are the future. The companies where you as an user are no longer a product, like on Facebook, you are a product that Facebook is selling to advertisers. On ccFOUND, you are a real person who matters. You have tokens that allow you to participate in the income of the whole community, of the whole platform. And you also participate in the development decisions, because when the community needs to make a decision, they will vote with their tokens, and also these votes will be weighted with reputation. So no matter where you live, wherever you are in the world, you can be a token holder and have a real say in the business and be a real part of the community, not only a product like on nowadays social medias. So that's my vision. That's the goal for the future. There are also other visionary startups out there, but most of blockchain startups nowadays are focused on technical aspects. So, for example, if you take Ethereum, Cardano, and other cryptocurrencies, most of them are platforms for IT developers to develop their decentralized applications. But on the other hand, there are not many applications for the end consumer. And we are actually one of the first products like this that is no longer a technical product for developers, but is mostly a product for normal people to share their knowledge, to create content, to gain wisdom, to purchase information products. So I hope that maybe tomorrow, maybe in a few years, you will come visit us and maybe become a part of the community, maybe become a token holder, maybe become a content creator, and in the future possibly monetize your knowledge, your expertise on this website, in this community. Because what I'm doing is creating for people like you also. So it won't take you so many years as it took me to become a successful person. I hope you will do this much faster than me using a website like ccFOUND. Alright guys, this is, I think, most important stuff I would like to share. Please ask me if you have any other questions. I think we can use chat here or whatever other way you would like to use.
Thank you very much, Mr. Peter. You shared your experiences. Most important thing that's artificial intelligence. And as you told that translation work in social networking platforms, and especially to collect the knowledge instead of informations, it is very important. As you told about the question and answer websites, these are very important and very useful. And I think that after the globally changes in the world, when the whole world become a village, it is very important to know the cultural diversity of the world by the translation, and this makes a big scope for the beginners, for the students, uh, and for the students who are searching uh, uh, for their career. So we are very thankful for your valuable speech for our students, and I want to tell you that our institute is based on the uh, basic. Its basic is philosophy, which we can say Buddhist philosophy, and here the most of the students are practicing the wisdom in their life, and they have detailed knowledge of some important things, thoughts, and practical values for day-to-day life. And I think your speech will be very useful for our students. And then after, I request to our moderator, Dr. Gurmeet, to process this event forward.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I would like just to comment on one thing on the artificial intelligence aspect, because you probably heard that many tasks will be automated. Even doctors and lawyers in the future will be automated as an artificial intelligence. You will go to a robot who will tell you which medications to take or how to apply law to your particular case. And this may be true regarding many aspects of life. Also, content creation is already automated. I don't know if you know, guys, but there is, for example, I think it's called Philosopher AI, but I may be wrong. There is some kind of an algorithm that is generating answers to questions, but they are very philosophical like answers. You can ask even the most funny questions, but again, a very important aspect is that even though you can read this content and it supposedly makes sense, it's very readable, but it doesn't really solve the problem you're asking. This AI can't really solve your problem. You can ask a question, it will generate some kind of content, but it doesn't have the human touch. And what I am anticipating as a creator in the future is, yes, artificial intelligence is already the bane of the internet. It created all these attention-grabbing algorithms that make information chaos on Facebook and other social media. You enter this social media and you don't know what you will find. but people will still be needed in 10 to 20 years, because only one person can really touch the heart of other person. And only one person can really understand the other person. So when it comes to information and knowledge, alright, a robotized doctor may solve your medication problem, okay, but if you have a really hard case, if you really need an advice from other people, there are only other people that can help you, and it's only other people that will give you good advice. Artificial intelligence still won't have a soul and won't have a heart. Please remember that.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. You have shared your ideas and mentioned very important aspects, and how you started companies and how you face different type of difficulties, and lastly how you got the switch results. And you also mentioned very well the formation era and knowledge era. And I hope the student will surely ask some questions. But I request that this question answer session will flow at last. So once again, I want to thank Mr. Peter. Now I request our second speaker, Mr. Dilip Kumarji, to speak to the students.